In today's booming indie shooter market, it's becoming increasingly harder to find new FPS games that really stick out from one another, and while I wouldn't say Extraneum reinvents the wheel, it does enough really well to stick out to me. Full disclosure, I did receive my copy of Extraneum for free from the developer, so I would like to say thank you to David Jalbert for the free copy. I will still be giving my absolute honest opinion in this preview, but I want to be upfront about getting the game for free. Also, I only have access to the first episode of Extraneum. The game will be released in early access on June 15th on Steam and itch.io. The early access release will include episode 1, with episodes 2 and 3 releasing at a later date. Since I didn't play the full release, this video will not be a review, but rather a preview. I will be giving my thoughts and impressions about the game as it is in the current early access build, all of which are subject to change with the full release. As it is a preview, I'm also going to do my best to avoid spoilers, so I'm not going to go too into bosses or specific secrets or anything like that. I'll go into the mechanics, basic strategies, but I don't want to give too much of the game away before it's released. Though I will say that I found the one boss that's available in the first chapter to be fun and well designed. I was already following Extraneum. To be honest, I follow a lot of indie shooters and indie devs on Twitter, but Extraneum was already a game that stuck out to me because of its art style. I like the cartoony, clean, yet pixel graphic style, and the general art direction for the game. Games like Gun Gods, Lab, and Intrude stick out to me for the same reason, because of how unique they look compared to other games which try to emulate Doom, or Blood, or Quake. This is especially noticeable in some of the enemy designs. Sure, you have some soldiers which are a little more on the generic side, but this isn't yet another indie shooter where you're fighting demons or cultists. Look at these little cuttlefish looking guys. Or the mecha frog looking ones. They're kind of cute and visually striking, and it really helps them stick out. On the topic of enemies, you get your standard variety, which gets increasingly more difficult to manage as you progress the game. You start off with pistol and SMG soldiers, eventually you get the cute little cuttlefish monsters, then shotgunners, eventually you get these floating aliens that kind of remind me of Octobrains from Duke Nukem 3D that spit at you. Once you kill them, the cute little cuttlefish things are released. Then there's the frog mech looking aliens, which also attack exclusively with melee, but can jump long distances to land on you to make up that distance. I found the gunplay pretty good as well, and I enjoy using every gun for different situations. I sometimes feel like in FPS games, some guns have a definite advantage over another. The super shotgun in classic Doom, for example. Once I get that, I feel like it's the gun that I use the majority of the time, and it becomes my default, with every other gun kind of becoming more situational. While in Extraneum, I wouldn't say it's as frantic or necessary to switch through your entire arsenal as a game like Doom Eternal or Shadow Warrior 3, I still found the game provided enough incentive to use all the different weapons that I found. Sure, I still kind of defaulted back to the shotgun, but it felt more out of habit than anything else. The gun variety is pretty much what you'd expect from a shooter like this, but they all feel really good to shoot. There's a SMG, a shotgun, a grenade launcher, a chain gun, a plasma gun, and a knife and chainsaw in case you run out of ammo. Every gun has a satisfying sound and gives adequate feedback. The SMG doesn't feel weak even though it's a starting gun, which I really enjoyed, because so often in classic style FPS games, the starting guns become obsolete very quickly. The marriage of enemy variety and gun viability leans into the importance that you learn to adapt early on to using all your different weapons. For example, the shotgun is powerful, capable of killing basic enemies really quickly, but it fires slowly. So the game throws a bunch of little cuttlefish at you. You can kill them easily with a single blast of the shotgun, but they swarm you, and since it has a slow fire rate, you take unnecessary damage. You can of course keep running back and killing them with your shotgun, but you run the risk of running out of space, so switching to the SMG to quickly dispatch them is the better option. Likewise, the big Octobrain looking things are very resilient, so you'll waste a bunch of ammo using a gun like the shotgun or SMG to kill them, and I found that the grenade launcher was more useful against them. Not only do the enemy encounters encourage you to use all your different weapons, but it's also very easy to run out of ammo. There isn't a lot laying around in the level, and enemies do not drop ammo. Learning which weapons are more useful against specific enemies and switching according to encounters not only creates for a more interesting and engaging gameplay loop, but also helps you conserve ammo, use all the guns that are available, and avoid unnecessary death. And you will die as you get your bearings in this game. You can't just run around without a thought because you will eventually get overwhelmed and die. You take damage very quickly. If you aren't paying attention, you will run into walls and be unable to strafe to avoid getting shot. There are 3 difficulty settings: easy, medium, and hard. I played my first playthrough on medium, which I kind of feel is the intended experience for the game. On that difficulty, I wouldn't say that I really struggled with any one part. It's not like I was replaying levels over and over and over again trying to figure them out, but there is challenge to be had, and I did die. On the hardest difficulty though, it is extremely difficult. You can die incredibly quickly, enemies take more damage, they deal double damage, and you can't respawn at all, meaning that you'll need to restart a level from the start every single time that you die. Though you do get to keep all of your guns when replaying levels, and you can change your difficulty at any time, so it does feel a little more manageable replaying levels on hard with all of your guns available. The feel of the game is a direct result of the level design. Extraneum blends these larger, more arena-feeling sections with traditional Wolfenstein 3D-esque corridor, maze-like navigation sections. The larger arenas split off into smaller corridor areas, giving you the best of both worlds. The arena areas kind of allow for a more fast-paced, action-focused feel as you strafe around, dodge, and shoot the shit out of enemies. These parts are usually filled with more enemies, really emphasizing combat, whereas the corridor sections require you to navigate a little more deliberately. There's not a lot of room to dodge, you'll be popping in and out behind corners to kill enemies, goading them through doors so that you can pick them off. There aren't as many enemies to kill in one spot in these encounters, but they're positioned in a way to take advantage of killing you quickly. It definitely appeals to both sides of what I like in retro shooters, the open arena combat and the getting lost in a maze corridor navigation thing. And I definitely did get lost a few times, looking for switches to open locked doors. You can get a little turned around, but there's also an abundance of secrets to find, like a lot in every level. I found a surprisingly small amount of them, resulting in me only having 27% completion, even though I finished the entire first chapter. There are hidden rooms full of ammo and better guns, hidden ways to open up different parts of the level. You can find these hidden data discs, which can be used in the menu to give you little bits of lore. Eventually, if you collect enough of the discs, you can also open these hidden doors too, which give you access to secret levels. I feel like this is one of those games where people will be finding secrets for a while after release. I even just started spamming the use button on walls to see what I can find, and I still missed a bunch of secrets. The most unique mechanics for Extraneum are the shop and the respawn system. When you kill enemies, money comes raining out of their bodies. You can use this money to buy ammo, health, and armor from vending machines around the level. These are incredibly important because, like I said earlier, ammo, health, and armor are kind of scarce in this game. So you'll want to get all the money that you can to stock up on resources that you find from these kiosks. Then there's the respawn system. You need to find these checkpoint doors throughout the level. Most levels only have one. If you die, you are brought back to that checkpoint spot. On easy, you have unlimited respawns. On normal, you can only respawn 3 times, and on hard, you cannot respawn at all, and these respawn rooms aren't even in the game. So if you're on medium and you die 4 times, you need to restart the entire level over again. If you die before you find the checkpoint spot, you need to start the whole level over again, which happened to me a couple times. Respawning also costs money, so you need to make sure that you don't spend all of your money on ammo, health, or armor on the chance that you die before you recoup what you spent, and the amount needed to respawn increases every time you use it. It's actually a creative system that incentivizes you exploring a level for secrets so that you can actually find the respawn rooms, and it also provides a workaround for save scumming. It's a unique system that feels fair in its execution. It can get a little frustrating if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, or if you don't know where the respawn rooms are and keep dying before you can find it. You'll be restarting levels often. The last thing I want to address is performance. I didn't experience any real performance issues, and it ran at a consistent 60 frames per second, even at my highest 3840 by 2160 resolution. Until I updated my NVIDIA driver to update version 512.95. After that update, I started to experience frame dips, slowing down the game to as low as 30 frames per second, and a weird streaking effect when I would move. So if you're watching footage and see my FPS counter consistently around 60 FPS, That is footage from when I played before the update, and any footage that seems kind of framey or smeary is after the update. Since the issues occurred after I updated my graphics card, that tells me the issues are on Nvidia's end, not the game's fault. If you're a fan of Wolfenstein-like retro first-person shooters, I think Extraneum is worth checking out. Again, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it does what it does very competently and introduces a very unique respawn system. And it's overall just a fun experience. It releases on early access on Steam and itch.io on June 15th with the first episode. I'll be looking forward to the second and third episodes as they release. I will have links to the Steam and itch.io pages down in the description. If you're a fan of retro first-person shooters, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really enjoy talking about these kinds of games. I'll definitely be interested in revisiting Extraneum for a full review once the full game is released. Until next time.